Greetings, Mon. Shall we do? In the car series, I'm noticing that I'm doing a lot of videos in the car again, which used to be my favorite until I saw, what's my man, Derek Jackson come on the scene. Then I said, hey, I don't want to align with this brother, no offense to him. But I said, let me stop doing videos in the car. But then my brother, Carlton Jones, was another brother who I did align with. And I was like, yo, he in the car. So I started doing them back in the car again, because me and the watch used to do videos in the car back in, man, '07, '08, something like that. But anyway, so I want to connect with you all, family, to talk to you about a subject. I want to tell you about the Acoma Kings orientation that's happening this evening at 7 o'clock. I'm doing a Q&A on the 14-week rites of passage, but I wanted to talk through the lens of one of the issues that I see going on with men. And so I'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks, almost every day. And that thing that I want to talk about is nice guys, right? So there's a saying out in the world that nice guys finish last, or nice guys will finish last. And my position on that is that nice guys will always lose or finish last, and they should. And part of the reason why is because of the characteristics of what a nice guy is. So first, before I share my opinions and my thoughts, philosophies on this, the concept of what a nice guy is, or the word nice. So let's just start there. Baba Haru, one of my premier Jegna and teachers, Baba Haru Ankra Samaj Sepata, or as we affectionately call him, Baba Haru, would say that when you say words, you have to know what they mean and how they originated. Because many of the things that we say during this time are misnomered, right? And nice is one of them. So the word nice in its original root means actually ignorance or devoid of content. So you can look up the etymological root of the word nice. So we look at things and we say, oh, that's nice, or this is nice, or this is whatever. It is, the presence of something that is incorrect. So we don't want to be nice, right? Look up the word, look up the history, and you will see that nice means ignorant. It means void of content. It means something that doesn't have true purpose, right? And so this preoccupation that we have with niceness is part of the reason that nice guys finish last. But let me just say that, nice guys, one of the problems that nice guys have in life in general is that they're accommodators. They're people who are looking not to make waves. They're looking to not make enemies. They're looking to not offend anyone. This is nice guys or nice women, but I'm speaking from nice men or nice women, but I'm speaking from the perspective of man, because I'm bringing it into the relationship, the intimate relationship dynamic. This is a fallacious position to have. Like, I don't want to make anybody angry. I don't want to make anybody disenchanted with me. But the problem is we live in a time where things are polarized. So you have polar opposites. You have good and bad. So if you bad, you aggravate good. If you're good, you are naturally aggravating people who are bad. And now I want to preface this by saying, in our people, in our nature, none of us by nature are bad. But many of us have been conditioned and socialized to be bad. And so as men, you will find a lot of men in the world who are trying their damnedest to be nice guys. And in them trying to be nice guys, one of the things that they're doing often is trying to assess the environment around them and make sure that they don't piss anybody off, that they don't displease anyone. And this is a characteristic of a nice guy. The problem with that is these men are typically the most unprincipled men. They don't stand on any principles, right? There is nothing that really motivates their life force that they can stand on, right? So one of the characteristics of nice guys is that you will see them, you know, if you ask their opinion about something, before they levy their opinion, they'll try to see, what's your opinion on it, right? Like, they want to know before they say something, how do you feel about it? Because what I'm going to say, I don't want to offend you. Now, this really plays out when we get to the intimate relationship, something that I want to talk about. Nice guys for women are generally unattractive. And the reason being why is because, again, nice being ignorant, nice being a person of no substance or principle. The root word, that's what it means. Again, look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look up the etymological root of what this word means and where it came from. How it evolved to be synonymous with a person who is well acting or fair seeming. I don't know how that happened, but in its etymological root, the word nice means ignorant, devoid of substance, right? And it was Heru David, one of my Divine Sacred Kingman brothers, who was also under the tutelage of Baba Heru, who really brought this to our group when we were going through our rites of passage. We did like a year and a half, 2 years with Baba Heru, face to face at his feet, learning from him every Friday, right? And it was Heru David who later went on to become an apprentice of Baba Heru in his legendary international his joyery making business, where he does fashion all of this beautiful, I have the tri-colored gold Divine Sacred Kingman, white gold, rose gold, and yellow gold on my ring. But it was Heru David who became Baba Heru's apprentice, who taught us about this word nice, or who taught me about it in 1999, right? And so I was like, wow, this is deep. But getting back to the nice guy in relationships, women look for balanced, fair, and clear leadership from men. Firm support, firm judgment, fair and balanced acting in ma'at leadership, and a man who has a solid knowledge base. Yes, all men make mistakes in their judgment in the things that they do in the world, but women are looking for men who are secure and clear, certain about their path. Of all the human needs, the one thing that women are looking for from men is certainty. Are you sure about what you're saying about you and I? Are you sure that there is no one else? Are you sure that this is the path that we're going through? Are you sure on the principles you stand? Most women will accept you being wrong, but they will not accept you being unsure. It's better to make poor decisions that are principled and thought out and measured and executed with passion than it is to make no decisions. And this is a characteristic of a nice guy. He can't decide about anything. And I'm not telling you just a theory. We work with black couples around the world, literally, and we see it on date night. We talk about the 52 accommodates. What do you do for date night? A lot of times men settle into this groove and they've been nurtured to be a nice guy. He doesn't even have an idea what to do. What do you want to do? Whatever you want. What you want to eat? Whatever you want. That's fine with me. You know, these are the type of characteristics of a nice guy. And so women are very much turned off by men like this, because these men have no sense of purpose or direction. They are accommodators of the highest order, and they believe in their mind that by being accommodators, they will be more nice, and this is what they will be rewarded for. But at the same time, there's a contradiction. There's a dichotomy where men will tell me one-on-one, sisters of today, they want a thug or they want a bad boy. Nobody likes the nice guy. Nice guys finish last. It's not that, brothers. What you don't understand is this. Nobody likes a man who's unprincipled. Nobody likes a man who can't stand on something, even if it offends others. Because listen, what I'm going to get to is the type of man that we should be is a man of purpose and a man of principle. But a man of purpose and a man of principle is going to automatically rub antithetical groups the wrong way. You're just automatically going to do it because you stand for something that is diametrically opposed to what they're for. But in the intimate relationship, it is annoying as hell. So the attraction to the bad boy that women had is not because they're bad, but because they're principled and because they make decisions with a certain level of certainty that is attractive. Do you know I have interviewed thousands of women, and women tell me often, I would follow a man who's doing something wrong if he's clear, certain, and at peace with his decisions, more than I would follow a man who's ambivalent and uncertain about his every move, and he's unsure, he's talking, he's stammering, he's stuttering, he's not clear on what he's saying and the position he's holding. It's a turnoff. I'd rather rock with a dude who I know is doing the wrong shit, but he's saying to me, listen, this is the wrong stuff. You either with me or you ain't. And if you are, these are the benefits and these are the potential costs that can happen to us if we do this. Are you with that? For so many women, that's refreshing. And he will say in the process, hey, listen, I got you, but it's some wrong stuff we doing here. That is so refreshing than a man turning to you and constantly saying, well, what do you think? Well, what do you want to do? Well, I don't want to offend you. So how about what you think? And, I got my half, you got your half. Do you do this and I'm doing that? And it becomes, of course, we both have roles in the relationship. Of course, we have our individual perspective that should be honored as women. So I'm not saying that because I don't want some men to hear this and say, this is the justification for me to be abusive and for me to negate your value in the relationship. But brother, lead, be a man. I think it's ironic, and Nawasha says to me often, it's ironic that so many men are talking about women being submissive, but they don't really have clear direction. And if they have clear direction in what they want to do, it's more lip professing than it is manifesting. It's, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do. And they talking way up in the stars and the nation building and the getting the bag and all of that. But then when you really see what they're able to produce, it's like, why would I submit to that? Why would I submit to that? Not that we're caught up in anything material. I'm not suggesting that. So I don't want any toxic men to be abusive with this commentary. And I don't want any psycho women to take this commentary and make it mean that you got to come back with all this material stuff as validation of your manhood, because that doesn't validate your manhood. But if you are striving to be nice, you're unprincipled. If you are striving to be nice all the time, you don't have certainty. You don't have clarity in the decisions that you're making within the relationship. It's including the relationship status. Let me give you a perfect example. Men of purpose and passion and principle, and that's where we're going to, they usually mate in 6 months to a year of meeting a woman. Nice guys, they're unsure. They feel unsafe. They don't know. You say, we're not ready to marry yet, or we're not ready to be exclusive yet. Well, how long does it take? I don't know. I'm not sure. When I know, I'll know. Right now is not the time. They say all kind of things that is off-putting. A dude who is sleeping with your woman on the side is saying, hey, listen, this is what it is. I know what this is. You know what this is, and this is what it is. A lot of times, that kind of leadership, although it's immoral, and I'm not condoning it, is refreshing when you're dealing with somebody who is constantly conflicted over the little things, the largest being his own identity. Brother, you cannot be conflicted about your identity in a polarizing time, because we are in a time of polarization. This is a world of good and evil. This is a world of right and wrong. This is a world of real and unreal. This is a world of sanity versus insanity. You can't be nice in that, because whatever you stand for, the sane rub the insane the wrong way. The insane rub the sane the wrong way. And because the powers that be and the modus operandi of this social order is to impose ideas. When the dominant culture believes something, they impose it. And then the salacious trick is to say, everybody has the right to their own opinion as long as my opinion is king. And this is what we see with our oppressive society. And y'all know this is true, brothers. It's on everything. It's on miseducation, which holiday to celebrate, religion, sexual orientation. There isn't a sector of society where you could come out. I think it's ironic that the most politically egregious and oppressive people in the world create terms like political correctness, because these are terms that are they're lauded by nice people. You know, I want to be politically correct, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. Well, if a thing is wrong, who is going to say it? The men of principle. And this is what the converse of a nice guy is, or a nice man is. He is a man of principle, a man of principle, a man of purpose first, principle second, and then passion, meaning that his life has divine significance. It has purpose in the world, and he's clear on what his purpose is. And so he has a devotion to purpose, as the third principle of Ma'at teaches us. He has a mortal devotion to his life purpose, number one. Number two, he is a man of principle. He's standing on certain immutable principles that don't change because there's a new president or a new era or a new trend in social order. He is clear on what's right and wrong, his moral compass. He is clear on what is real and unreal. So he doesn't get caught up into the social trends, and he has the moral fortitude to stand firm on the things that he knows is right or wrong. This is scary for people in this time, because they've been taught that you can't have an opinion. At the same time, they're taught that they're living in a place of free speech. And especially here in America, we look around the world and say third world countries are this and they don't have freedoms. Do you have the freedom to go on your job and talk about religion? Do you have the freedom to talk about sexual orientation and your position on homosexuality or race or anything that is super polarizing in this country? You do not. In fact, not only do you not have the right to talk about it on your job, you can be penalized greatly if you talk about it on platforms like this or anywhere in your life. So you have been conditioned out of fear to be an accommodator, right? And that energy goes into your relationship, brother, because you don't have skills of building intimate relationships. And you got a severe daddy complex, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow, because we point the finger at sisters all the time, talking about she got a daddy issues. Nobody has more daddy issues than black men, right? But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But today, what I wanted to talk about is a nice guy will finish last. He does finish last, And guess what? He should finish last because he's unprincipled. He doesn't have purpose. And even though nice guys have passion sometimes, they've been conditioned not to be too passionate about anything, because to be too passionate and too animated or too committed to any particular thing then increases your polarization, and then you become unnice. Now, I don't want to confuse being a nice person or a nice man with kindness or compassion or caring, because you can kill somebody with compassion. You know, you got these Arabs and other people out here, they don't kill meat the way Europeans kill meat. And the black folks that's taught by Europeans, they pray over the meat and say a prayer. They trick a animal into going in that direction and then slit their throat quickly, you know, and they call this humane or halal killing and stuff like that. I have issues with that. I don't agree with that 100%. But the point that I'm saying is you can use compassion in killing a person. Or you can do what has happened to us here in this country, where you're killing a person in thought, speech, and action 24 hours a day, whether you do it subtly through the food, through the air, through the soil, or through the education. You kill the spirit through the socialization. You kill the will. Or you can straight out drop bombs on people and kill them for all kinds of reasons, like you're doing in the West Bank and in Gaza, right? You can do unmitigated, full-fledged war, or you could do subversive genocide and killing, right? And so in the intimate relationship, the nice guy is never at peace. He's always double checking. He's always uncertain about his woman's position because he is disingenuous. This is what happens when you're a nice guy. You in effect become disingenuous. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't be fair, because you can absolutely be a man of principle and purpose and passion and be fair. And if you're like me and you have an African-centered lifestyle, you are living by some moral, ethical law that makes you principled. Like in our case, in Akoma King that we're going to go over, we're with the whole 14-week rites of passage is designed on the African, Nubian, Kushite, Kemetic, Hopi, Nile Valley, right? So the 7 virtues, the 10 principles, and 42 laws of Ma'at are our foundational moral, ethical compass. So we have principles. We are very clear on what to do and what not to do, even to the point where we can take the moral, ethical pathways where we may have to be super Aragatorian and sacrifice our life or someone else's lives on those principles. Like Martin Luther King said, if you don't know what you live for, if you don't have something to live for, you don't have something to die for. But the thing a lot of people don't want to say in open air space, what is it that you would kill for? Because that's important too. You have a God-given right to protect anything that you feel is a mortal threat to your life. And so don't just tell me, you know, what you will stand up for and you love something so much you would die for it. Do you love something so much you would kill for it? Do you love something so much, whether it's your people, your nation, whatever, you would kill for it? What our women and children know about us in mass. Now, of course, every man is going to say, yes, I know. But what they know about us in mass, we don't have those things. We go along to get along. We're afraid to die. We're afraid to stand up for something. And that fear that emanates on a large level, on a macro level in our geopolitics, it also manifests in our intimate relationships. Don't think you one way out here in the world and you a totally different way at home, because guess what, my G? You the same dude on a micro scale that you are on a macro scale, because it's a cellular reality. You are striving to be nice. Look up the word again for the 3rd time. It means ignorant. It means of no substance. It means of no critical value. That's what the word nice means. So Why would any woman want to be with a nice guy? If I were a woman, I would not. And when I think of my teachers, the Ishamuka Barashangos, the Baba Herus, the Ashra Kwasis, the Khalid Abdul Muhammads, the Dr. Africas, the Malidoma Somes, all of them. When I think of brothers like TDK Kilimanjaro, when I think of Yisra Hotep, who, like his teacher, Asar Hapi, was in a supreme state of Hotep, a supreme state of peace and calm, he still is a very principled man. He still is not trying to please everyone. I remember the first time I met Yisra Hotep digitally, and somebody was saying something, and he talked about what's that Indian dude's name that Oprah Winfrey had blew up? Oh, I can't think of that brother's name, but he's like this spiritual sage type of person. And Oprah Winfrey used to have him on all the time. I remember the first comment I saw from Yisra said he's a barking dog to the white establishment. And that caught my attention because I'm like, damn, he's speaking truth to power because this dude is beloved by a lot of people, right? But the point I'm making is that when we see these kind of dudes, and especially in the relationships, I can see a nice guy from 10 miles away. And I know that his woman is in hell in that relationship, right? Because he's unprincipled. He's not really standing on things. He's trying his damnedest to please her at all points. And listen, I don't advocate abuse of women in any form or fashion. And I think that men should be emotionally balanced, which is the place that we are the weakest of all the things. That's why the Akoma King Rites of Passage is about the 7 pillars of emotional fitness and the 3 points of social responsibility through a cultural lens over a 14-week period, right? To help you become a more well-balanced man. But I don't advocate abuse of women. So I'm not saying the antithesis. We're so immature and ignorant. We're actually nice, which nice means ignorant. We think we're elementary in our logic progression. So if somebody say, stop trying to be nice all the time, then the brother thinks that means to be abusive, to be hardcore and to speak the raw truth, the brutal truth. Well, truth is not brutal, brother. So stop saying that. Brutal honesty. You can have beautiful truth or beautiful honesty where you have the 4 versions of truth, and we're going to deal with that. His truth, her truth, the truth they both know but aren't saying, and the truth neither one of them knows. That's complete. That's holistic. That's beautiful. It doesn't have to be brutal. The truth doesn't have to be brutal. It's your disposition that's brutal because you're immature, because you don't have emotional fitness. And so you want to be abusive when delivering the truth because you want to hurt somebody, right? And so you've assigned the hurt or the application of the truth as being inherently a part of the truth, but it's not. Truth is not brutal. It's sobering sometimes, but it's not brutal. It's your ass that's brutal. And the brutality toward your women is the evidence of a man being in an uncertain position, right? And so this is the characteristic of a nice guy. We don't want to be nice. We want to be men of purpose. We want to be men of principle, and we want to be men of passion. A nice guy should finish last. I hope all of you nice guys finish last, and I hope the nice guy in you is murdered. I want to kill him, not kill you. Understand, my brother. Kill the nice guy in you. Make you a man of principle. Make you a man of purpose. Make you a man of passion. You know why? Because I'm that type of man, and the men that I get on with most are those type of men. We need squad. We need to squad up. We need as many of us as we can find. And so the only reason I ever deal with men who I determined to be nice guys is because I'm trying to convert them to be men of principle. I'm striving to help them find their purpose in life. I'm striving to help them be clear on their moral, ethical principle and how it manifests in their relationships with their women, their children, and this world that we find ourselves in, where we are public enemy number one of all human beings on the earth. Black men have the genetic potential to annihilate everyone with the beautiful scepter, Djid, that Hinenum that's hanging between their legs. And so because everybody knows that, they have fashioned all kinds of systems in education, economics, entertainment, fashion, food, health, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war to eliminate us. Whether it is the overt warfare that they eliminate us in, or whether it's the covert warfare like red number 40 is in now laters that's only in the hood. What is red number 40? It's a behavior modification drug, right? And so is crack. And so is COVID. And so is whatever you got out here, AIDS, whatever. Hip hop has turned into the new drug because the 4 stages of this system is to constantly refine itself and morph over time. So the aims doesn't change, but the goal doesn't change, but the objectives change. And if you understand this problem clinically, you understand that. And the other big warfare tactic that is proliferating is to turn psycho-ass black men against their psycho-ass black women who have been indoctrinated with feminist ideology that was created by white men to disenfranchise us. Look it up. You can't give me a female creator of feminism. It is an antithetical thought to black nationalism and black survival. It is an un-African paradigm. And I know it's a lot of sisters out here who I respect dearly who say that they are black feminists. I categorically, respectfully disagree. That's like being Nazi Jew. Like, they're antithetical. Feminism is an antithetical position to African culture. So you can't be a black feminist, right? I know a lot of sisters will argue me on that, and you know, at another time I will entertain those conversations. Right now, it's a lot more people out here focused on that better than me that I don't need to do it. But if you want to talk to me about it, go ahead and leave a comment about that. And, you know, I can easily defend my position. White men, the Rockefellers and others started feminism. It's well documented. And then they propped white women up to draw black women away from their men. That is a 100% clear fact. We can stand on that historically, and it's easily revealable with a cursory glance. My point is that the gender war dynamic that's going on, because I don't care how much we rant and rave about each other, here's the fact. We want to be together. We want to have sustainable relationships. And I'm saying that men, not that you're more important than a woman in the relationship, but you are unequivocally the leader in relationships. And anybody listening to my voice who believes this is some arrogance or some sexism, please entertain this thought. Black men and black women in the Western world, especially in America, but in the whole Western world, Europe, Australia, or whatever, are Canada, and even Southern America, are the most unmated people on the face of the earth. On the face of the earth. We have now moved to, we were at 7.8 a few years ago at the 2020 census. We are now at 8 out of 10 of us are unmated. There is no group of human beings on the planet that are having that kind of mating dynamics or percentages. Of the 2 that's made it, 1 of them, 1.5 of them are mortally unhappy. Divorces are happening like that. And of the others who can't divorce, They just having affairs and just, they into all kind of stuff. They on the down low, they bisexual, they into all kind of unnatural behavior while they're married. So you can't even look at the number of married people to see who's actually fulfilled in a marriage. But even that withstanding, only 2 out of every 10 of us are mated. So what is wrong with black people? I contend that we are outside of our nature. We got these bitter ass, immature, abusive men talking up in the skies about their blackness and can't manifest or maintain a household with any emotional regularity. They cannot make a woman feel comfortable in her emotional designation. We got these delusional ass women out here that will listen to anywhere the wind blows, because the trick of our enemy is the fairy tale syndrome for women, but it's the superhero complex for men. We talk like Superman, but then everywhere around us, we can't find everywhere around us is kryptonite. So we can't find any answers in our relationship. Our women are so whimsical and delusional. They just want to be cute and, long as they sexy or pretty and I got a job and so what? But inside they're dying emotionally. And even the white women that they measure themselves up to, and we saw this historically in the feminist movement, a lot of them was married. A lot of them are still, now they divorce second to black people, white people do. Asians are the most married because they have a culture that is intact wherever they go that has a sheltering against white supremacy. White women only divorce at the rate that they do because the culture that they live in still supports them. The only fools on earth that are talking about it's good for them to not having a man or a woman is black folks, because the culture don't support us, and all statistics show we die sooner if we're not married. We don't make more money if we're not married, and our quality of health and our emotional well-being, our psychological well-being is most challenged when we're unmarried. But we are so unskilled that we're running around here saying that it's better to not be married. And that's part of the nice man's indecisiveness. It's your culture that makes you skilled. You can't win at intimate relationships, black people trying to be Rick Johnson, because you're not Rick Johnson. You could wear the name, but internally your nature is other than Rick Johnson. So when you try to go out here and be Richard Johnson and everything about you is, Delani Azikiwe, it's not going to work for you. What's working for Steve Smith down the street, because he's emanating his culture. And it really don't even work for him, but he is able to be in a social dynamic where there is a system that supports him one way or another. Look, when you see these white people and white women roaming the streets and white men roaming the streets, you're really looking at somebody who messed up, because as Shahrazad used to say, look, don't give them no money. Their whole culture is supporting them and they can't make it. They can't make it and the whole culture is supporting them. God is white in their ethos. Everything about the education is supporting them and they still can't make it. Don't get them a dime. Go find a black homeless person and give them a couple of dollars. Matter of fact, give them $5. Give them $50, but don't put it on TV and tape it to show that you being benevolent. Really support your brothers and sisters. But the point that I'm making is, in the intimate relationship, nobody likes a nice guy. Your children don't like him. Your woman don't like him. And I'm going to tell you this, brothers, the only time a woman is dealing with a nice guy, she's rebounding from who she really was passionate about, or she's trying to build, she's using triangulation. She's using another person, place, or thing to build up her sense of self-esteem. And soon as it gets to the highest level, She wants the validation of men that represent the strongest, the best, and they're not nice guys. So when you see women who like get it all together, and it seems like, why do she keep wanting to go after these bad boys or this whatever? It's because all women in their nature want the strongest version of manhood. Whether that man is leading with intelligence, whether he's leading with morality, whether he's leading with physical strength, the strongest version of manhood, of all the characteristics of God, strength is the one, like they said in that scene in Enter the Dragon. Mr. Han told Roper, of all the characteristics of manhood, strength is the one that is most important, because without strength, the other characteristics can't develop. So if you're a spiritual man, don't be no milquetoast, weak ass man calling you a child of God and you can't stand up and say nothing about all this hell that's on this earth. Be a strong spiritual man. If you're an intellect, don't be, I'm a nerd. You're not no nerd, black man. That's not our shit. That's somebody, you're not a nerd. Why are you finding pleasure in calling yourself a nerd? You're calling yourself a nerd because you're trying to take an antithetical position against the thug. So you're trying to show, I'm a nice guy. I'm just a nerd. I'm into what I'm into. And you can be an intellect. You could be a scientist. You could be Tahuti. You could be all of the many African systems have the intellect, the thinker, the deep philosophical person. My attribute, Afi, in my name, Mansho Afi Oding Momar Idu, means, Momar means philosophical or philosopher or thinker. So you don't got to be a nerd. Stop saying that. That's not our culture. We don't edify nerds. Who the hell, what woman is saying, oh man, I just can't wait to find this nerd guy. I'm a geek. I heard some black dude say, I'm a tech geek. I said, brother, you're not a geek. Michael M. McWally and other people created supercomputing. And I haven't met a black person over here in the West that is even touching what the Liberians and Nigerians are doing in tech. And none of them over there are calling themselves nerds or geeks. So cut it out. Cut it out. You're trying to be appeasing to people who don't care about you anyway. They want to kill you anyway. They smile when you say you're a nerd. They smile when you say you're a geek because you're laying down and you're defining yourself by them. But what woman wants to be with a man who's uncertain? I'd rather go to hell with gasoline draws on and following a man who's certain about what he's saying than follow some dude who one way on Monday, Tuesday he another way, he like you on this day, but then he kind of like three other people and who this on the phone? Who is she? I thought what is this? Or worse, the dude that's 10 months into dealing with you, 3 years, he's saying he your boyfriend. This is my boyfriend. You're a grown man. How you somebody boyfriend? And why does it take you one test drive to buy a car, one walkthrough to buy a home, one visit to go to the military, 1 or 2 visits to go to a college, but it takes you 4.5 years to decide that this is the woman you want to be with? What's the difference? You don't have skill. That's what the difference is. My brother, I am saying to you, please check ego. Let's develop skill. I am not the best knower. I have a 14-week rites of passage program that was designed by many elders. The framework that I have came from the Honorable Baba Heru Ankh-Ra Samad Sepata, who, along with Shechem Shechem, many people will tell you is the first person to bring Nile Valley culture into modern times. Of course, we had Drusilla Dungy. Of course, we had John Jackson. Of course, we had Dr. Ben and John Henry Clark and many others. No disrespect to them. But the cultural energy came from Baba Heru and Ra'u Nefer, Shechem and Shechem, without question. And I am a lifetime member of a shrine that doesn't even exist anymore physically, but it exists in our minds and hearts, and there's many offshoots. So Smai Tawi, the Know Thyself, Heal Thyself temple under the leadership of Baba Heru and Queen Afua, who are not, they still work together. They're no longer married, but they still work together, right? When you look at the Shrine of Ma'at, or you look at the Temple of Anu and many others, Oasis at Sunrise and many others throughout the 27 years that I've been involved with the temple, there are many others that exist, but we have to institutionalize manhood training, bro. We're emotionally sick. And brothers, it's time to admit that we're emotionally sick. It's no way that our women are out here this crazy. And it's no way that our children are out here this lost, and something is not wrong with us. There is something seriously wrong with us. We have to heal, bro. We have to get emotional balance. We have to get well-being, and we need each other. The baton of manhood is not being passed the way, for as dysfunctional as it is, I can tell you something. That baton of womanhood is being passed. Even if it's a baton of dysfunctionality, it's being passed. My wife is a part of a beautiful women's group. They go all around the world together. They don't have an agenda. They just traveling. They just want to be together. They've been to Greece. They've been to Bahia. They've been to Abu Dhabi. They've been to Africa. They go all over the place. You can't get 10 men to come together on any damn thing. A brother who's fit will try to show us, this is how you do push-ups. Oh, the brother in the back, like, that ain't how you do the push-up. Fuck that. I'm doing the push-up the other way. You know what I mean? If you say, oh, Moncho's doing the rites of passage. I'm 45 years old. Why do I need a rites of passage? Bro, listen, these women got 10, 15 women they can name that's 80 years old. I want a man right now, tell me 10 men that you know that's over 65 in your life that can help guide you to become 80, to become 90, that can become the next. This is not about who has the most knowledge or who's superior. It's not about that. White people have abused you so much that you think any man that's sharing his heart or his skill or his wisdom is sunning you. And so you won't submit to anything that somebody has to offer. But out the other side of your mouth, you will concede that we're all unique and have value in the world. Well, then why aren't we sharing with each other? Why aren't we supporting each other? Why aren't we buying each other's products? Why aren't we squatted up? Why don't we just get together and hang out when we ain't talking about, did you see the Eagles lose? Or when we ain't talking about, can a group of men get together in a room and talk about their feelings and their life experiences without quoting Jay-Z or some rap lyric, or without talking about a game or something that happened in pop culture? What is inside of us as black men? We know it's sickness because look at our women and children, and the world know they got us. Whenever I see those, the Hebrew Israelites or the Nation of Islam or any group of brothers that squat up, you can think they're polarized. You can think they crazy as hell. You can think whatever you want. I'm always happy to see them because even though I'm not a member of those two groups, but I'm close with many people that are in other groups, I am always excited to see brothers standing on principle. And you know, I hear brothers talk about their outfits and all kind of silliness projecting on them. But these are members of a group who stand on principle, and they're in their right, all brilliant men. When I went through my rites of passage, we had doctors, we had lawyers, we had officers. Baba Heru was a legendary New York police officer that a lot of people don't know. And he used to tell us, I used to have my gun in my holster in one hip, on my right hip, and on my left hip, I had my Ankh. And people thought I was crazy. I was going out there trying to heal my people and, execute the law for New York. So I'm just saying, yo, we are bugging black men. And I'm telling you out of love, Stop trying to be nice. Be a man of principle. Be a man of purpose. Be a man of squatting. For you to be walking around here, we do marriages. A lot of y'all know that. We have married, we've been hired to do like 10 couples. 3 of them couldn't even make it to the altar after they hired us. But we've married like 7 people. And a man called me one time from Philadelphia. He wanted to get married. And this was his first time getting married. And I was so excited for the man. And when I started talking to him, he told me that he's 75. He was 70 years old, and the woman that he was marrying was 70. And I said, bro, this your first time getting married? He said, yes, sir. I said, wow, what has taken you so long? Like, what? He was like, man, I just, he wasn't incarcerated or anything, but he just got caught up into a flux, and he never did it. But he met this beautiful woman, and this is how powerful women are. She said, we can't have sex. These are elders. She was 75 and he was 70. She said, we can't have sex if we're not married. So I'm looking for y'all. I said, well, we don't just perform ceremonies. We actually have a premarital package of counseling that you got to do and etc. I said, so we will marry you, but it's going to take you about at least 8 weeks to go through our program. He was like, I'm trying to get married right now. And they told me you was the man, because he was also starting to come into his cultural sense. And y'all brothers in Philly that know me, y'all know, because I didn't know him, but I turned him on to a lot of y'all. Carlton Jones, Oba, Faru, Kamua. I gave him all of y'all numbers because I said, here's a group of brothers in your city that you can connect with as you're starting to re-Africanize and decolonize. Because, brothers, we got to decolonize our thought, speech, and action and our behavior. And it's showing the most in our health and our relationships. We got to do it, man. I have a program that is 14 weeks. We're doing an orientation tonight. And we're going to do an orientation next Wednesday. Then the following Wednesday, which is a day before my father's birthday, my father was born on the first day of winter. My mother was born on the first day of spring. So every year I run a Coma King, which is a rites of passage into emotional fitness and social responsibility. There are 7 pillars of emotional fitness. It is emotional intelligence, emotional literacy, emotional vocabulary. Stop saying mad, sad, glad, had. How you doing? Mad. How you feel? Sad. What you want to be? Glad. Stop talking cat in the hat. Then you got to have emotional intelligence, emotional literacy, emotional vocabulary, emotional demonstration, emotional flexibility, emotional strength, and emotional endurance. Those are the 7 pillars of emotional fitness, and we're going to go through that. Then we're going through social responsibility, which is doing the right thing at the right time and for the right reasons, especially in our relationships, especially with our children and women. Stop dealing with these women. Stop trying to have access sexually to these women that you don't want to commit to. Or if you're going to do that, then go pay for it. Go pay for a sex worker. And I don't advocate that, but I'm saying it's better to do that where it's clear and cut and it's understood than to be leading a woman on and you have no intention of marrying her. You're leaving her with a bunch of children and you're destroying our nation. And then you're walking around thinking you're nice. Stop standing up doing these things. So this 14-week rites of passage is about emotional fitness and social responsibility. But the subtext is that it's for scholars, lovers, warriors, and kings. Because in order to progress as a man, you have to be studied. You have to show yourself approved, as scripture says, study to show yourself approved for manhood. Because you don't just reach manhood. We have malehood, boyhood, and manhood. You don't just get to be a man because the law said so at 18 or 21. There's certain things you have to do. So you got to study. Once you study, then you can properly serve, and love is service. So now you could become an authentic lover of your people, of your destiny, of your culture, of your family. Then once you love anything, you got to protect it. So then you become a warrior who advances and protects that which is valuable to them, including your fellow brother. You could tell we not warriors because we killing each other. Our greatest allies are each other, and we killing each other over Jordans and other dumb shit, right? So we know that we're not warriors. There is a difference between a warrior and a soldier, as I was telling my dear brother, Dr. Kokai, the other day when we were talking. A soldier needs instruction, and he only moves with instruction. A warrior has an interdependence. He's moving for a common cause of other warriors, but he acts independently. He can assess any environment and know what is the right thing for him to think, do, and say in that environment. We don't know what to do. We see our women get beat in the street. We don't know. We act like we don't know what to do because we scared of other men. We see all kind of stuff happening. People is abusing children, and we suspect it, and we know it, and we letting it go on. You see all these celebrities falling right now for all this abuse and misogyny and pedophilia that they have, and damn near all of them got it. It's not a one that don't got it. And I'm not saying cut them off, but I'm saying we as men got to deal with them. You walking around quoting the lyrics and edifying a pedophile or whomever. And so, you know, we got to deal with this stuff. But once you become a warrior and you've defended and advanced or protected that's valuable, eventually you become a sovereign decision maker. And a king doesn't mean that you're ruling over others. It means you have the responsibility of rulership. And what is rulership? Sound, principled decision making. And that's what rulership is. It's not control. It's not making people submit. It is making decisions that will edify the group and are best for the advancement of the group. I am one of the people, I know Supernova is out here with his Man Heal Thyself. He has allowed me to come to his group and minister to his group and go through the gateways, and we've cross-pollinated. He's coming to mine, and we're going to have men that come from both. I know Sage Men is out here in the country. I know the Cave of Adullam is out here, and there's a few groups, but there's millions of black men who need rites of passage. And we can't have a conversation about that, but we talking about the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, or everybody can weigh in on who's better, LeBron or Jordan. And nothing is wrong with this stuff in and of itself, brothers. I'm not, because we so immature. As soon as you say something to somebody, they're like, oh, now I can't watch the NBA no more. Do whatever you want to do, bro. You're a grown man. Do whatever you want to do. But what I'm saying to you is, where is our principles? Where are our purpose? Why are we, of all the men on the earth, we are the most unmarried men? And then when we marry outside of our race more than all the other men combined. Why is that? Why is that, black man? We're trying to be nice. We're trying to be accepted. We're trying to be appreciated by the people that actually hate our guts. And the people who love us, we can't get along with more than 24 months. Most marriages today are ending in 3 years in divorce. And if you cut that in half, they've been unhappy for about 18 months. And if you take out the sex, they realize about 90 days in, I should have never married this person. I married a couple, and for the first time, I have a couple that we married got a divorce. And I'm very fond of both of them. Naturally, I'll protect their identity. I asked both of them, like, what happened? And he said, listen, they both said, we knew before we got married that we shouldn't have got married, that we didn't want to marry each other. And that really always hits me because we married them, we counseled them, and they didn't really feel like that. They were probably uncertain of their skill, but they actually loved each other at a point in time. But see, when you get into the intimate relationship, it demands a level of social responsibility. Doing the right thing at the right time for the right reasons is a sequence that sounds simple, but it ain't easy. And if you don't have skill, and if you don't have support, you can't do it. So you'd rather play house and make 10,000 babies and just destroy your livelihood in the pursuit to act like you're being a man. And then because you could swing your phallus, that's a foreign name, your hinanum or your digit, but because you could swing the D and you got a car and you make a little money, nobody can't tell you nothing. But I'm going to tell you the saddest sight that I see across the country. Single black men between 45 and 60. It's sad. These are the times, the years that you should be coming into the peak of your sovereignty. Not the peak of your warrior. Not even the peak of your lover. Not even the peak of your scholar, but the peak of your kingdom. And you can't guide anyone because you're a loner. I see brothers, they collect 400 pairs of shoes. I knew a brother one time was telling me like about his shoe collection, and he had like 2 pairs of $1,000 shoes. And I ain't mad at that. If you got the money and you want to spend $1,000 on shoes, I love shoes, you know. I'm not mad at that. But it's sad to see men in this age range of 45. Like I told the elder, I said, bro, you 70. We married a dude and he was past 50. And salute to you, my brother, you got married. But I was looking, I performed the wedding. And as me and my wife were waiting for the procession of the wedding, we were looking at the wedding was beautiful. And we were looking all through the room. And I'm saying, damn, my G, you way past, your development is arrested. Do you know the national marrying age in this country is old? It's 29 for men. It's 27 for women. A lot of us are 49, 50, 55. And we're like, I think I met the one, yo. I think it's time. Oh, my G, my nigga, it's way past time. Because 29 is old in every civilized country. And people say, oh, today a 29-year-old, that's too young. It is too young when you've been miseducated. But when you've been educated properly, 29, hell, if you in your 30s having a baby, and I know because my wife had our first child together, because I got 7 total, but the 4 that I got with her, she had the first child past 30. They were telling her she's a geriatric pregnancy. This last baby, she's in her 40s, and they like, you're going to die, which is not true. But the point that I'm making is it's no honor. It's no dishonor. Now, understand me. So I don't want to offend you by you misinterpreting what I'm saying, right? There's no dishonor in any age getting married, because if you're 80 and 90 and you're marrying again, or if you're 40 or you're 50, I respect a man or a woman who marries multiple times. We were in Rite to Passage one time, and we were talking about Elizabeth Taylor, and the brothers in the group was talking about Elizabeth Taylor. And at that time, I think she was getting married her 5th time or something like that. Excuse this in here, y'all. Her 5th time, 6th time. And we were talking, and we was like, oh. And Baba Haru let us talk like fools, right? And then he said to the group, he said, you know, it is way more honorable for a woman to marry 8 times than it is a woman to have 8 sex partners and never be married. And you should have heard the silence in the room. It was 30 men that crossed with me it was 31 of us, but one man didn't make it. So 30 of us crossed in Divine Sacred King Man, and we graduated March 4th in Brooklyn at the I can't remember the name of that legendary place in Brooklyn where we graduated at. Somebody who graduated with me knows the name of that place. But a lot of great things have happened there historically, but we crossed there, 30 men, right? We had this idea that being married multiple times is foolish. I have 2 of my best friends who are married successfully and happily their 2nd times. And both of them got married in less than 2 years when from their divorces or their marriages falling apart. And one is a good friend down in Cherry Hill who's an attorney, and the other one is right in my town who's a legendary entertainer, but he's in sales now, but he's married, right, for his second time. 2 children with his first wife, 2 children with his second wife, for a total of 4 children, right? But I'm telling y'all, as a therapist working with 4-year-old clients all the way up to 74-year-old clients, the greatest challenge, I heard it today with somebody that I worked with, is the psychological tear of being in families that are not intact. And I have that with 3 of my own children. So I'm not sitting here pretending to be holier than thou. I'm telling you of the damage. I can see the difference in my other 3 children and the ones that me and my wife, one of our children passed away, but our 3 that's alive, they have grown up in such an emotional security because their mom and dad are not only together, we actually love each other and we like each other. We don't just love each other, we like each other. We're far from perfect, but we actually have a home of love that our children are growing up in. And even for those of us who don't stay with each other, the kind of relationships that we're building, our children, when I interview them children, they know that their parents hate each other. How can you feel good about yourself if the 2 people that made you hate each other? We're not even thinking black people. I was at my grandson's party and my son was on the phone showing the party to his mom, and he said, Dad, my mom said, how you doing? So I said, hey, tell your mom I said Hotep. And he put the phone up to my face to look at her, and I said, wow, Hotep, how you doing? Da 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 da. So the party was going on. We were singing happy birthday to my grandson. And then he took the phone off of her and da da da. And while we were singing, I was sitting there with my wife, and I leaned over and told her, like, damn, I haven't seen her in years. Just imagine, we have a son that's turning 30 years old. I haven't even seen his mother. I haven't physically seen her with my eyes in easily 15 years. Now, that kind of disconnect you would think is okay because my son is turning 30. Well, let me tell you, the 3 of us are in counseling right now, trying to heal some of the psychological wounds that he has from the way we were destructive we were only together for 2 years, but he's 30. Hear me what I'm saying. So I'm telling y'all, these dysfunctional ass relationships that we have, and these women are extremely delusional, because they'll be walking around like the woman I was with today, working with today, saying, my child is good with me, but it's the parent, it's the other parent. Your child's not good with you. Because in psychology, when a family breaks down, the children take this position. One parent is wrong and the other one is weak. Of course, they're going to talk to you and say, yeah, I love you. You're the only one that I know, you're taking care of me or whatever. But silently, they're like, why was you even with that person? What the hell's wrong with you that you were? So trust me, we deal with a lot of families. People think we only deal with couples. We deal with families right now. We're dealing with families. There is no child that doesn't need both parents. And even though that other parent is not the sum total of your life, and they're just a short period of time, a lot of times in your life, they are the absolute genesis of your child's life. And so your child can't even conceive themselves without a parent. You try to think of your life without your parents and see how far you can get in that thought process. It's antithetical to rationale. So the point I'm making is we need each other. Brothers, we need to squad up. We need something like what I'm offering, like what Supernova is offering, like Sage Men is offering, like Cave of Adullam is offering. And I don't even know the details of what those things are. But tonight, I am doing, in a couple of hours, I am doing an orientation on my program. I'm going to put the Zoom link here. Please come and check it out, answer any questions. I'm going to tell you about the structure of the program, what we're going to be going over. I'm going to show you the 6 or 7 teachers that most of my work comes from, and then my own personal spin from my life experience, my academic and cultural education. And then you can sign up. We're going to do another orientation next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, we're going to start Akoma King, a culturally based rites of passage of emotional fitness and social responsibility for Black lovers, Black scholars, lovers, warriors, and kings. I'm inviting you, brothers. And I'm saying tonight, even sisters can come. I don't want y'all to lambast it too much, because y'all come in with a lot of force. But if you have a question about the rites of passage, because I'm going to be going over the 4 thrones that we will be sitting on, the 14 thrones that we will be sitting on as kings, and talking about some of the content that's in each throne. And every week we're going to meet. We have monarchy missions, which is our heart work or our homework assignments that you have to do to be that monarch, to go out and complete. Some of them are psychological. A lot of them are psychological healing. Some of them are relationship education. And then the rest are cultural initiation. But this is the offering of my soul. And I'm not pulling nothing out of my ass. The structure of this is thousands of years old. Baba Haru, Ashra Kwesi, and others brought it to me. But the psychological and academic content of it, this is what I did my master's thesis on. A rites of passage. I can show you the master thesis. It's published. I did a master thesis on the process of rites of passage in making Black men whole, in opposition to secondary education. So rather than, even though I have a master's degree, rather getting a doctorate, master's, or undergrad, or making a lot of money, Black men should be getting rites of passage. And that's what I based my whole work in my master's degree on. And of course, I'm a clinical counselor with, human services. So I'm here to serve humanity, and I'm living out my life purpose, which is to initiate cultural unity through love. And that is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. So I'm not an apologist. I strive to be compassionate and kind in my walk, in my moral footprint. I'm not striving to cause any problems, but if I come in and break up some hell that's hurting my people, my background is I've worked in psychiatric hospitals. I see my cousin, Sean Phelps, who is my first cousin. He's like the brother that I didn't have, along with my other 2 brothers. He knows his father, my uncle, my mom's brother, is the seed of Trenton Psychiatric Hospital, and many of our family members have worked in there. I've worked in there. I've worked in every single prison, not just jail, but prison in the state of New Jersey, except for 2. I've been in many drug treatment centers, and I've seen men at their worst. And, it got dark when I said that. And I've seen men at their best, because I've been in many cultural movements of many wise elders and sages. And so the culmination of my spiritual and educational, cultural, and clinical education, but not just me, all of the shoulders that I stand on of all the great men, and not just the great elders. I have peers. Sunjeti, if you out there, many peers. I talked to Deshaun Farad today. Many peers that are superior than me in certain aspects. I'm inviting all of them to come and contribute. Brothers, we gotta come together, y'all. We gotta come together. Our women need us. Our children need us. And we bugging out here. Yes, some of these women are bugging. Yes, a lot of them are bugging. They're delusional and crazy as hell with these ideas that they have about relationships. But our enemies gave them those fairy tale ideas. We can bring all the beauty and the passion to reality. But we have to step up and be men, because I'm going to tell you, bro, nobody respects us. We don't even respect each other. The only reason we not wilding on each other is because we're afraid of each other. We're afraid of the imminent threat of death. But name me 30 men just off top in pop culture that you really respect. You know, and we start counting down, and I don't agree with everything they say. Of course you don't. You don't agree with everything you say. So of course you don't agree with everything that some man says, but name me 30 men that you respect. Name me 30 men in black pop culture that you respect. Name me 30 men that you interface with. I'm not talking about, we don't got to be besties, but we have a common goal and we all have skills that we could bring to a collective pot. Why don't we have everywhere? Khalid used to tell me, every city you touch down, you're supposed to know who's the warriors, who's the scientists, who's the healers. Everywhere you go, you're supposed to know that, because your survival depends on it. We can't tell you none of that, but we can tell you who's the best shooting guard in the Eastern Division. And it's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. But when it's out of balance with other stuff, we're insane. And so Akoma King is a path to sanity for those men that want it. I'm going to put the link in the description, and I would love to have you come in, question me, challenge me, whatever you like tonight. I'm only going to be on for an hour. I'm going to do this orientation tonight at 7. I'm going to do it next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, in honor of my father, who's in the ancestral realm most of my life. I'm 53 years old. He's been in the ancestral realm for 33 years. He passed when I was 20 years old and brought me face to face with what am I going to do for my manhood, because I was close with my father. And when he left, I said, oh shit, the person who I thought was going to usher me into manhood is gone 1 year before I legally became a man in this society, and I don't have a clue. So that's what put me on this trajectory and this path. So I am one man offering the amalgamation of many wise men that have taught me and the wisdom of the ancients, because this framework that I'm dealing with, other than Baba Haru, I don't know of anybody teaching it. And we all have different focus. I think, you know, the brother from Cave of Adullam, I don't know. I think it's warrior training. Supernova is physical healing and cleansing and spiritual healing. I'm dealing with spiritual, psychological healing and relationship education and emotional fitness. But the framework that Baba Haru has laid down and passed on to me, it's near perfection, because it's over 6,000 years old. So let's chop it up tonight. Please join me. If you have any questions about a rites of passage, what it is, how it works, if you have any questions about me, my credentials, and what I'm offering, if you have any questions about relationships, being a scholar, being a lover, being a warrior, being a king in today's world as a black man, if you just want an environment of brotherhood where you can build and be yourself, man. So many environments here, we're not allowed to be ourselves. But if you especially want that relationship thing to go right, join us tonight. If you missed tonight, join us next Wednesday, and join the program. Officially starts December 20th. I'm Mancho, Heru Mancho Afi Oding Momar Idu, your brother in love, speaking to you as a scholar, lover, warrior, and king. We need each other. Brother's going to work it out, y'all. Let's get this thing together. I'll see y'all tonight. Link in the descriptions. Nia Akoma.